If you missed what was happening over the last 2 weeks in the Quest community, somehow when update v72 for the Quest software rolled out, it happened to brick a number of headsets. Bricking mean it completely disabled them and stopped them from working. We talked about this more in depth in the last week's news if you want to catch more about it. But the short of it is a lot of Quests were updating over v72 over the holidays, or even some new Quests were being open and getting their first update, and it was causing headsets to become completely useless and not be able to finish booting. Tons of posts all over Reddit and everywhere else about people having headsets not working. Early on, Meta had offered the solution of holding the power button, doing a hard reset. Meta jumped on the problem, but unfortunately it was over the holidays when likely less of their people were in office to fix things. But Mark Rapkin jumping on Twitter saying that there was an update on the software and now almost all headsets should be used normally. But if anyone's having an issue, contact customer support, and they're even offering free replacements for headsets. One thing weirdly about the site I would like to point out, though, the site even says we are aware that a limited number of Quest 2 and 3S devices are experiencing a software update that is causing headsets to be unresponsive and unable to boot properly. But then it says at the bottom, enter your Meta Quest 3S headset serial number below to check if your device is eligible. Making me question if you had a Quest 2 that was working all this time. Yes, it's out of warranty, but if this issue kills your Quest 2, does that mean they're telling you you're SOL? If you're in that situation, let me know in the comments, but that would be awful if an update did that and they were just like, well, it's out of warranty. Some reports saying that Meta has said to users if they are out of warranty, they basically offered a refurbished unit for $150 as the least expensive replacement option. Don't love that. As of the time of recording, the exact cause of the issue still has not been revealed, but some users saying they saw v72 get pulled back off their headset. But basically now, if you have a new headset, you shouldn't have to worry, because if it does happen, they will replace it for free. If you were to have a Quest 3 that is over a year old have this happen, or especially a Quest 2, that could be a whole nother terrible story. But as far as the Reddit forums that I frequent and stuff, I haven't seen reports of that from many users, but that's where if you are having that happen, let me know. I'm interested in finding that out because I really hope that doesn't end up being the case. But in other updates to the story, now Meta has basically made it easier at least to replace them, because when they first started this, they did say contact support, and if you've ever dealt with Meta support, it can be a pain. You might get bounced between people, you might have to send over data more than once, you get asked the same questions a lot. Personally, I have dealt with Meta support 3 times now, and every time I personally have ended up giving up and solving my problem myself. Luckily, it was usually an issue where something wasn't working and I was still within the return window, so I thought, oh, I'll contact Meta, and then by the time it went around, it got near the end of the return window and I just returned or exchanged it. Or initially, I had a Rift that I had actually gotten from someone else that was used, and they couldn't help me get it working again, so I ended up just finding my own way around. Basically, the proximity sensor on the inside had died. But this definitely is not what we want to see as far as brand new VR users' first time experience in there. So hopefully the number of people that are being directly affected by this is not too high, and hopefully if we do see somehow anything coming out with headsets that are out of warranty, Meta will offer better options than just here's a refurbished one. So if you're still having an issue and you think you're anywhere near the end of your warranty window, make sure and contact Meta support right away. Get on it, don't let them sit around. I personally have a couple headsets I have to boot back up and make sure are also working. I haven't been able to get through all of mine yet. But with that, it sounds like the issue is mostly resolved, but we'll report back to you if anything changes, or we'll see what all of you out there have to say as well. Another question that has come up as part of this that I wanted to bring up and alert some of you to out there is some people are saying that the issue didn't brick their headset, but it did mess up their Pro controllers. Whether it's made them completely not working, updates not working, they no longer work with a headset. It's something I've seen in the comments, it's something I've seen over on Reddit, and it was something I was actually already trying to look into because some of you out there had talked about how the 3S, when it was first launching, they'd said, oh yeah, the Pro controller should work fine, and then people were finding the Pro controllers weren't linking up, or other people are saying that if you got your Pro controller after v70 released, then they won't work with any headset. This, unfortunately, I have not had time to do enough research on. I'm actually not home right now. I'm at CES, but as soon as I get back, or even from here, I'm going to try and look into this more and report back with you as well on what's going on with Pro controllers and what all they're still going to continue working with, because I do have a couple sets I'll have to dig out and experiment with myself, but it is something to be aware of. If you have a set of Pro controllers laying around, you might want to double check on them and make sure that this isn't going to kill them for you and make them no longer valuable either. With one of people's top goals for New Year's being fitness, we've talked about how VR and fitness can work together before. From spendy subscription-based apps like Supernatural that can be really engaging, but you're paying for a subscription and it constantly feels like you're working out when you're actually doing it, to the other end with games like Beat Saber or Pistol Whip that are fun, engaging, and have you moving, but they don't give you any tracking data on your fitness and what you're actually doing towards your goals. There's a new game that just dropped today called Shardfall Fit Quest VR that's looking to kind of bridge the gap between those two extremes. A game that drops you into a world overrun by machines, and as part of nature fighting back, you have to fight off these machines. Combine combining things like fighting, parkour, movement, but then also actually tracking your progress, giving you analytics and tips after your sessions, but keeping fun game mechanics like progression, customizing your gauntlets that you're using, all basically turning this into a roguelike fitness game. There'll be a link down below in the comments and description if you want to go get this. It just came out today. Thanks to them for sponsoring this week's news, and hopefully this can help some more people reach their goals this new year. In some odd news of Meta dropping something but not really celebrating or talking about it much, there's a new tech demo that has showed up on the Quest store. It advertises itself as a VR graphics showcase and even claims it is a cutting-edge visual showcase that demonstrates the stunning visual quality that's achievable in virtual reality. This is a free experience you can check out. It's called North Star. Although it is doing a lot, it is showing scenes far away and has a lot of dynamic shadows in it. It doesn't seem like the best example of VR graphics to me. There is a lot of details like how many shadows there are, the water activity, the wind and the sails, but ultimately still some of the other things I've told you about like Gracia or the 3D scanning. There are other things that I feel like still show off best what the Quest can do, but it's an interesting experience if you want to check something out free that just kind of showed up. But it's something I'll leave a link to down below too in case you're interested in seeing it and seeing what you think, especially those of you who did listen and try some of the other graphical things that we've talked about. I'd love to hear your thoughts out there as to the comparison of what they look like. A small update in the MetaQuest browser, but something that is a bit remarkable. MetaQuest is now allowing you to import your passwords. So if you're someone who trusts your computer with all of your passwords, or your browser at least, MetaQuest browser will now let you import them directly from. It even gives you the options of Google Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge. Does anyone use Edge? Publications pointing out how this is a nice feature because typing passwords in on the Quest is really tedious and even harder than dealing with it on your phone or anywhere else. And of course, ultimately, this information comes from VR enthusiast Luna. If you don't know Luna on Twitter, great source of information way early. They scrub code and figure everything out basically before anyone else knows anything. But like every other update with Meta, this may not have rolled out directly to you even if you have the latest update yet, so keep an eye out if it's something that interests you. I don't do a lot of password typing on my Quest though, so personally for me, probably not going to get much use. It's a new year, and as part of our celebrations with everybody out there pushing us all the way up so close to 100K right now, we've got a Quest 3 giveaway, a Quest 3S giveaway, Bobo VR is giving away some accessories. I actually just shipped out a Quest 3, and Bobo's shipping out some stuff right now for the last winners. But all of you had asked about Meta Ray-Bans. We've never done that before. It seems like a cool idea. I am worried if the winner has a prescription, it might become kind of a mess trying to get it set up for them, but we'll figure that out after somebody wins. So make sure if you want to get entered in those giveaways, check them out down below. Thank you once again for the millionth time. I know I've said it so many times, but we're coming up on 100K. I'm actually at CES trade show right now, checking out things in Vegas, seeing some of the future of VR. I end up going to all these places because of all of you and all of your support out there. So thank you once again. In the good news of VR, VR is still growing and saw a near record usage this December. Valve gives out a lot of data, unlike Meta, and basically in December, there does have to be some adjustment because Valve does report non-Chinese users separately. We see near 3%, which is a lot when you figure out how many people are using Steam on how many different devices, is close to the record that we saw back with the Quest 2. And then if you figure, of course, how many people are using just Quest standalone for VR, a lot more people in VR than ever before. We do have a fractured market, so it's hard to get exact data anymore, especially with Apple Vision Pros being out there. But more good news about where VR is, where we're headed. And now, of course, we got whole things merging into XR. People are using smart glasses and AR glasses and Snapchat spectacles. It's going to be hard to get any real percentage of data in the future, but I wonder, for those of you out there who have friends who you haven't had try your Quest, do people still seem curious about them, or do most people think by now they've at least tried some version of VR? What always bugs me is when I find out, they say, oh, I've tried it. Oh, what did you try? Oh, I tried the Google Cardboard and I shoved a phone in it. Modern VR is different. Again, soapbox over here. And speaking of Ray-Bans, it's possible the next Ray-Ban Meta glasses will actually get a HUD, heads-up display. This is a report from Financial Times, so keep in mind this isn't anything Meta's saying yet, but there's been a couple of reports saying now Meta would have some sort of HUD glasses, whether they were Ray-Bans or not. Now, a heads-up display does not necessarily mean full AR glasses with capability of seeing holograms and color images. It could be something as simple as a pop-up that you could kind of read a message, or even just one to show you have notifications. Or Meta executives have even talked about the idea of a viewfinder, which could be nice for the Ray-Bans because if you've never used them, the camera is on the left side of the glasses, which means your perspective is not always directly where you're looking or from the center of where you're looking. So it might be nice if it was even just kind of a cutout like you see in photography and stuff that kind of shows you where the camera's aiming. We're obviously many years from the $10,000 it takes to produce one set of Orions, even for internal testing for Meta, to reach the consumer, but it is a first step, and as someone who's really using my Ray-Bans a lot more all the time, especially with traveling, or even if I'm editing on my phone, being able to hear through them is really nice. It would be nice to see some more features, especially with some sort of visual indicator, because audio cues are just not always the thing I like to use when communicating with electronics. With all of your help, it's been a remarkable year. We've got all kinds of trips coming up, finding out what's going on in the VR space, bringing it back to you out there. I asked in the last video, which got so many views and comments, I haven't caught up yet, but I am wondering, what do you want for 2025? What do you want for VR? What do you want to hear from this channel? What are you enjoying here? And what would you like to see different? For a long time now, we've been doing our best to bring you daily content, whether it's news, reviews, the best games lists, shorts all related to VR. And we have more ideas of things we want to start and other things we want to pivot to and make sure that we're covering everything for you. But let me know what you want to see down below. Thank you once again for being here with me for 5 years now. Thank you. I'll see you in another reality.